Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I put together this fall wreath trio. It is a beautiful wall hanging. Of course, you could hang it on a door. So let's see what I did and let's get to crafting. Alright, so I'm going to start off with these 3 wreaths. I found these at Dollar Tree, but you can pretty much find wreaths like any floral and craft supply stores, or you can just order them online. And of course, they don't have to be this particular size or this color. You can choose whatever you want. These happen to be a bamboo wreath and they're 12-inch in diameter. But I did find that this one is a little bit oddly shaped and it's a little bit bigger. Of course, they're all kind of oddly shaped. They're not really round, but I think that adds to their character. So I'm going to use this larger one in the center. Alright, so now that I've decided, you know, which way I want my wreaths to go, because like I said, they're not perfectly round, they're a little bit odd shaped. So I've decided that I kind of want them like the egg shape that they have, the oval shape, kind of going along. So just decide where you want them exactly and where you want them to be attached at. And I want them to be nice and secure, so I'm going to have 2 spots where I'm going to be attaching them. I'm going to be using this floral wire to attach them because it is really thin. And when I put it through the wreaths, you're not going to be able to see it too well unless you're like really looking up close. So I'm going to use this. Now I've put the 2 smaller wreaths on top of the bigger one, or if they're all the same size, I would say the outer ones are on top of the middle one. But you could do it the other way around. You could switch them over and put the bigger one on top of the smaller ones if you prefer, you know, the one in the middle to be coming out more. Alright, so I'm going to wire one of my wreaths onto the one in the middle first, and then I'll do the one that goes on the other side. So I'm going to take this, like I had it on top, about right here, and then take a nice long piece of wire, enough that's going to go all the way around both of your, you know, the thickness of both of your wreaths, and then just wrap them up behind. If you have to turn it over, you know, to wire it that way, if it's easier this way, do it that way. And I think it is. So nice and tight. We're going to twist it. Let me do the other one. Super easy. Just attach it from both points where the 2 wreaths are meeting. And this wire, because it's so thin, you're barely going to see it. So that's what I'm going to recommend. Now, this particular wreath, and a lot of wreaths have like maybe like a little, you know, jute string kind of, you know, wrapped around them. So if you want to use that to tie them together, and of course it's just going to blend right in, you can do that. Alright, so now I can just go ahead and trim, and then just make sure I tuck in those sharp edges inwards so they're not sticking out, you know, scratching up the wall or my hands, my fingers. Okay, I'll do the same to this one. There we go. And again, this is the back of my wreath, so I'm going to turn it over. And you can hardly see the wire. The wire is going through there, but you can hardly see it. This is the other side. You can see the wire right there, but you'd have to get like really close. And this wire, if you want to add more to it, to make it a little more stable, you feel like it's not quite, you know, stable enough, add more wire here. This is going to get covered up with florals. This one in the top, in my case, is not going to get covered up with any florals, so I just want to leave that one. You could add some hot glue in there to get it all nice and put together and nice and stable. So anyway, I'm going to repeat the same for the other side. Alright, so now that my wreaths have been attached, and I've actually gone ahead and taken my own advice, and I've put some glue right inside the, where they join, right in here. Just dab some in there, and on the other side, and so forth. And just letting that dry, and now it is ready to be decorated. But I want to do one more thing, and I want to hang this off the wall, and of course I could just hang it off a tack right here, right up in the top here. You know, just hook this round part of my wreath on a tack or on a wreath holder if I happen to put it on a door. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some little rope here to create a hanger. So again, I'm going to turn this upside down. This is my top. I had it like this. It doesn't matter really at this point where your top is, but you could just choose a top. This will be my top. And I'm going to cut a string that I can tie around here, knot it, and then of course the length that I want it to maybe come out about so much, and then enough to make a little bow because wherever I hook the string at, I want them to tie right there and have a little bow there, so the little tack or whatever I hang it from will get hidden sort of with the little bow. Okay, so now I'm going to cut 2 at the same length. Like that. I don't have to be exact, you know, just as close as possible. Alright, so we're going to do the old-fashioned thing of where we take a rope and then just tie it around and knot it. There we go. I don't know if I mentioned the noise in the background. That's my husband and my son. Okay. Tie that. That's the one string. And then I'll do the same to the other. And then, of course, I'm going to come with my hot glue gun. And I'm going to add some glue right there where that knot is, just to keep it from coming undone. Alright, so I'll do the same to the other side. Alright, so now that both of my strings have been added there, I can bring them up to a point, or down. In this case, it's down. Let me move this a little bit right there. And that's where I want them to meet up at and be knotted. So I'm going to hold on to that little spot with my fingers. Always trying to be, you know, having it centered as much as I can. And just pull it nice and tight. Nice little tight knot right there. And then you could just make a little bow, whatever you want, there on the top again. That's just to hide whatever little tack might be on the wall. And then I'm just going to trim the ends. And of course, you could add some hot glue in there as well, just to keep everything from, you know, from coming undone. All right, so we're going to set this aside. Let's grab some flowers and some ribbon. All right, so here I have all of my florals, and these particular florals and these greenery right here is fall floral and greenery. I grabbed from the Dollar Tree. I thought they had such pretty combinations and some pretty colors this year. So I went ahead and I grabbed some of the salmony and then this leaf that has like an orangey peachy kind of a color that blends in really well with that kind of salmon color. And then I decided to grab this one as well. These are like a hydrangea. And I grabbed these as well, which are a burnt orange. And I think it complements that really well. They also had this kind of like a plasticky kind of a, this is called fall grass. You know what? I'm not sure if I got these at the Dollar Tree or if I got them from somewhere else, but these other ones I know for sure I got them at the Dollar Tree. I think I did get these at the Dollar Tree as well. All right, so I grabbed some ribbon, and I have this burlap ribbon that I got at Walmart and some thinner ribbons that I got from Hobby Lobby. Of course, you can use whatever ribbon you want, just coordinate it to your florals. I had some scraps of some other greenery here, some leaves here, some ferns that have the beautiful brown orangey colors to bring out from this hydrangea, so I thought I'd combine them in there as well. And then a couple of chenille stems for my bow. Now I just need one for one bow, but I'm going to add some smaller ones, so that's why I grabbed an extra one that I can cut in half. Okay, so I only need really one ribbon, but like I said, I grabbed these extras. All right, I'm going to push these aside, and we're going to make just a quick little ribbon. So I just want a nice little tail about, you can go 8 or 10 inches, whatever you like. And then just pinch it. You'll twist it. You'll make your first loop the size that you want. And of course, whatever size of loop, whatever length, just keep that in mind, that you're going to have double. So that'll be your bow size, okay? So now we've decided that's the size of the loop. So we're going to pinch it, gather, pinch, twist it so that you always have the pretty side of the ribbon facing upward. Of course, in this case with this burlap, it doesn't really have a side, but I'm looking at it, and yes, it does have a side because this end folds over the wire here, so then I can see the wire on the inside here. So this is the outside, and then we'll twist this tail, you know, after we've tied it, we'll twist it to the, you know, facing the right side. Okay, so now we're going to make another loop on the other side, and we're going to bring that up to match this size of loop. And now that we know that they match as close as we can match them up, there we go. We're going to use those two that we've made to continue making some loops. And we don't have to worry about puffing up the bow right now. We just want to make sure that, you know, we kind of have it, you know, be about the same size all around. So I'm going to do 6 loops, so 3 loops on each side, okay? Okay, so then I can go ahead and trim off here for my other tail. And then I'm going to tie this all with a chenille step. Okay, now with this burlap ribbon, because it is so thick, it can be a little bit hard, you know, to twist it around and have it do its thing. But, you know, because of the wire, you know, it helps. So all I'm doing right now is just kind of fanning out the loops. I'm not worrying about, you know, poofing them up and making them look pretty, because I'm going to be handling them, this bow, when I tie it onto the wreath, and it's going to lose, you know, I'm going to end up squishing it again. So I'm not going to worry about poofing them right now. You can poof them once your wreath is done. Okay, or once you have it on your wreath, I should say. Okay, so there we go. We have that. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the other little small ribbons. And I want to make, you know, 6 little loop bows to just kind of hot glue them on top of here, one on top of the other. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a little tail. And make just slightly smaller loops, or almost half the size of the other ones. And just make sure they're about the same length. I think this one needs to be a little bit more. There we go. Just like that. Twist and loop. Twist and loop. Now, you can't do this by hand. They do sell bow makers. I haven't invested in one. When I was doing floral design at Michael's many moons ago, I would use the floral the bow maker, I should say. I did use the bow maker a few times for demonstrations, but to be honest, for me, this is a lot faster doing it this way by hand. So I never really invested in the bow maker, but it is an awesome tool to have, especially if you have arthritic hands, or you have some problems with your hands, or, you know, you're making a lot of bows and you're just going to get your hands all tired. All right, so that's the one little bow, and I'm going to make another one with this one, but I'm not going to hot glue them on until I have everything on the wreath. All right, so my wreath is back. This is the top because that's where it's going to hang from. So I'm going to put my bow at this bottom point. Now you could decide that you want it on top instead. I mean, that looks really pretty. And then put some florals, or put your florals coming out from the top. You could reverse this idea. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tie this one down. And I want it in the center here in the bottom. So this is what I mean, like, don't bother poofing it up, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around, and then my bow's going to get all squished. So what's the point in poofing it up? Okay, so before I actually go ahead and wire it down, is I'm going to add some hot glue right in there so that it all sticks down, or glues down to the wreath. Also, you know, from tying it down, I have 2 ways of having it secured. And then I can go ahead and trim the edges. And I don't trim the edges right there. I trim them a little bit longer. Actually, I don't even have to trim these, but I'll just do it just for the heck of it. Okay, so I just roll them, the ends down, and push them so that they're not sticking up. Again, same idea that I told you when you were wrapping the other wires. Okay. And you know what, guys? This is actually the front of my wreath, not the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this and put this bow facing this way. All right, so crisis averted. Thankfully, I noticed that before the glue got like too dry, because then I would have to like really yank it off. But I would have done it in order to fix this, because even still, even if I hot glue some things down, I tend to just take things apart and reuse them anyway. Okay, so now that we have it like this, facing the correct way, now we can fix our tails to make sure that the right sides of the fabric is facing forward, and then you can go ahead and poof up your little bow so that you can see how much space it's actually going to take, because once you poof it, it gets a little bit smaller, okay, the space that it takes. And the reason that I put the bow on here first is because I don't want to waste any material, like my florals, and then have them hidden with a bow. So if I was to put florals way too far in here, you know, started here, and then I put my bow on top, I'm hiding that. So this is why I put my bow on first. Okay, so now that I know how much I want to poof it, I can go ahead and take my smaller bows, and this one here where I had twisted on there, I don't need that much length, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off as well. I could have actually used a smaller piece of chenille, and then I could just push that down, kind kind of twist it, make a little base there where I can put glue and then hot glue it down. There we go. That looks so pretty already just by itself. And a lot of times what we like to do is we want to put flowers down and then put our bow, because it always feels like the bow is like the finishing touch. So if you want to just rest your bow on here, just get it the size, move it out of the way, and just keep in mind where you're going to start your flowers. Do that. But I mean, you know, what's the difference, right? Now, obviously for the video, probably that would be the nicest finishing touch. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and glue this one. And I had already trimmed that little chenille stem and push down the ends to make a little base where I could put glue and then stick it down. And there we go. Beautiful. At least I think it's beautiful. Look at that. It's a bow only a mother could love. Okay, let's go ahead and put some florals on here. We're going to start off by cutting off the stems that we feel we're going to use. Cutting them off of the little bush, unless of course you bought them already in stems, and you don't have to do that. But you are probably still going to end up trimming the length of your stem. So I'm going to start off with these little flowers, and I'm pushing the greenery, the leaf, up as much as I can. And I think I want that one right there. So I have a ton of stem here that I don't need, so I'm going to trim that off. Let's move this closer. So whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other, and I'm just going to bend it a little bit because I don't want my flower just resting flat like that, you know, and then another one flat on top of that and so forth. I want it to put it on there but have the flowers face forward. So now that I've got this, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in here and then go right underneath where this little loop is, and then just push it into the wreath with the hot glue, and then this will come back and it'll hide that little stem. Okay, and then we'll have a nice pretty flower kind of bursting outward of the wreath rather than just laying flat on it. Okay, let's put some glue on it. Okay, so whatever I do onto one side, I'm going to do it to the other. So I'll go ahead and do this side, and then I'll do the other side, and that'll be the finished wreath. So I'm just going to cut from the other bushes that I have here. And I have 2 of each of these colors, but I'm only going to cut from one of the bushes for now because I may not use all of them. So I don't need a bunch of stems laying around unless I have 1 or 2 left over. Then, you know, then they can be off the little bundle here. Okay, let me get another one, and I'm going to trim it as well. And I want to make a little cluster with that one right there. Actually, I think I can trim the stem a little bit more. Put some glue, stick it right in. There you go. I'm pushing the greenery upward and just cutting short stems because now I know that I'm going to end up trimming them anyway. And I'm going to take this one. This one has 2 pumpkins, so I'm going to take one of the pumpkins. See, I'm pushing up the greenery. Bend it a little bit. I need to trim it a little bit more. And I want this clustered in with those other 2 flowers. So there I made a cluster of flowers there. And like I said, I'm going to continue on just about this point. Now I'm continuing kind of the same pattern with the pink, the burnt orange, but you'll notice this kind of pinkish is kind of on the bottom and the orange is on the top. So when I start off my next pattern, I'm going to do the pinkish kind of, you know, bent to the top, and then the burnt orange will be down here. So, you know, you don't have 2 burnt oranges and all the pinks down here. This is what I've done so far. And so far I've added 3 of the salmon and 3 of the burnt orange, and I've added these little leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and add the fern leaves. Now this particular clusters here, right here, they only have 5 stems, but I need 6. So you'll need, if you're going to follow what I'm doing, you'll need to buy 2 bundles of each of color, or buy 3 bundles of just one color, and then, you know, use it that way. So it just depends on how many you're going to use that you think you need on one side. Make sure you have enough stems, multiply by 2 for the other side, and then look at your bushes and count and see what they have, and then just buy whatever you need. Okay, so I'm going to add one of these fern leaves at the very end, and I really like this orange. I don't need it to be this long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim a little bit. But when I do that, I have no stem here, so now I have to just trim off some of that. And that creates a little bit of a stem there. And it's pretty thick, so it'll be a little bit hard pushing it into that really tight woven wreath. So I'm just going to make like a little kind of a sharp edge on it. And I don't use my actual scissors for this because I'm cutting through some thick plastic and wire and I don't want to ruin them. So now I've got this little sharp edge that I can actually push in, and I have enough length here to finish this off. Okay, so in order to keep my fern from flopping around, you know, because it is a long leaf, I've got glue strings going across my camera here. Let me get this through here. Okay, I'm going to add some glue right here to hold down that fern leaf, just so that it doesn't plop up, especially when I go to hang it on the wall. Everything looks great right now, but when you go hang it, sometimes things droop, so check it ever so often. Pick it up like that, and anything's drooping, you know, glue it down or wire down, whatever you got to do. Okay, so I like the way this side looks. I'm very happy with it, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat the pattern on the other side, and I shall be back. All right, so I've done the other side, and I had a couple of, you know, some leaves like this left over, so what I'm doing is I'm just cutting them off of the little stems, and I'm going to use them like that. So anytime you just need to fill in something, you can just grab some extra leaves that you might have. And I've already done it on the other side where I've added some extra. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side where I feel like, okay, maybe it's a little ball there and it's a little something extra. So I'm going to put it right here. And then on the other side, I ended up putting one behind the fern here. So that way, kind of finishing off the idea here. And so that's where I'm going to place that. Okay, and then again, move everything forward, make sure nothing flops or, you know, gets out of place and it has to be glued back down. All right, so this is done. So let's see the whole thing finished. And there we go, the finished wreath. I've hung it up on the wall so that you can see what it looks like. There we go, hanging off a tack on the top there. Looking really pretty. Of course, I could put it on a wreath hanger and put it on a door, but I really like it on the wall. Now you could use this idea for Christmas, spring, summer, whatever. It doesn't have to be fall. And if you don't want to put a bow in the middle, let's say, oh, I just can't put a bow together. Well, you know what? Fill that up with more of the greenery and flowers, or put a little pumpkin right there. Now, if these wreaths were like really, if I had really thought about it, because they were kind of ovally, I could have done the oval going like that. You know, try to shape them a little bit more and then made it look like a pumpkin, because I'm kind of getting pumpkin vibes from this. What do you think? All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a big old thumbs up. So please give me a big old thumbs up and leave a kind comment down below and let me know what you think of this project. And I'm sorry my video is late. I have all kinds of excuses, but oh well, at least I have a video and here it is, and I'm hoping that you are enjoying it. And if you haven't already subscribed, please, oh please hit that subscribe button, and then also hit the little bell, little notification bell, and choose all so that you get notified of my videos as soon as I upload them. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and as always, enjoy.